So we have on one hand, we've got Charles Evans saying he supports two hikes by the end of the year. You're saying they might not be justified to hike twice.
I think it's going to be very difficult when we take a step back and we look at the shape of the U.S. economy. It's still very fragile. So it's going to be very difficult for the Fed to justify a number of rate increases this year. But we also have to put ourselves in the Fed's shoes. And the Fed has been very clear that they're not looking for the usual type of growth that would justify a rate increase, that strong or solid or even robust economy. Many Fed officials have said they're looking for just moderate. So come June, with a continued improvement, relative improvement, in the latest data points, that may be enough to justify that rate increase near term.
I think inflation is going to return to target here by the course of the year?
I don't think so. I think we're going to continue to see very sluggishly low levels of prices for quite some time. But remember, the Fed is also willing to raise rates in anticipation of further price pressures. The one problem that I have with basing monetary policy on the Fed's own expectations is that they have been consistently inaccurate for more than half a decade now. The Fed consistently targeting and expecting to reach that 2% objective, but inflation continuing to move further and further away from that top line goal. So the Fed is still targeting that 2% objective, but I think it's going to be at least another year before we can talk about a sustainable 2% level of price pressures.
Which leads the crescendo nicely towards the non-farm payroll data and what your anticipation is for today. 158,000 or thereabouts. That's the Dow Jones forecast. What are you looking for?
I think we might see a slightly stronger number. We're looking for about 175,000. So certainly a step in the right direction from the outsized weakness that we saw in April, but still well below that bar of 200,000, which we really look for in terms of signaling a strong labor market. Of course, again, against the backdrop of continued improvement in manufacturing here in the U.S., as well as more strength in the housing market. And of course, we saw a nice upward tick in personal consumption. A relatively strong payroll report, again, might in this larger sense of the data meet that threshold of just moderate being enough to justify a rate increase, maybe in June, maybe as early as July.